So, very good afternoon to all of you. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. Uh, the purpose of the session is very clear. You can see from the details itself. But before I go on to discuss, these questions, I would like to confirm, everybody who is live to respond, whether you can see and hear me clearly. As of now, I cannot see any responses. Probably nobody is live. Before I begin the class, let me wait for 20-30 seconds so that people can quickly confirm. People can quickly confirm if the audio and the video is all fine. Things should be fine, should not be much of a problem. But let me tell you that if you are watching this session on a laptop or a mobile, the volume might be a little bit lower, so use a earphone or a headphone and increase the volume so that you do not face any problems later on. So hello, good afternoon, right? So at least one person is responding. I hope everybody is going to also quickly join in, and I think some of you would have already discussed, would have already seen, already been a part, already attended the previous discussion. So what we are doing right now is, as you can see, very simple. We are going to look at CAT 2019 paper, the second shift, the remaining, this is the third part, right? So we will pick up 8 questions. It is like we discussed the whole of the paper. The whole paper, in fact, cannot be done in one shift. It cannot be done in one session. So primarily today I will pick up 8 questions, one passage with 5 questions and 3 other questions. 3 other questions may say there would be 2 of them which would be summaries and 1 of them would be parajumbles without options, right? So very good afternoon to all. Before I begin, can you quickly confirm whether you can see and hear me clearly? Should not be much of a problem, but if in any case there's any issue, let's get it rectified right at the outset. Should not be a problem, but let's see. Right. So we will look at the questions, CAT 2019, the paper, the second shift of the paper. There will be 8 questions that we will take up in total. Right. Now, before we go ahead any further, I hope all of you are aware of this Gradeup Super subscription. Subscription to this will give you access to live courses for CAT and other MBA entrance exams. So the subscription period is, you have 3 options. One is 3 months, 6 months and 18 months. So you have this option. You have the option of choosing any of these options and make the most of it. Right. Now, as I was telling you, I will begin by discussing one passage, 5 questions, and then we'll move on to 3 other questions. So in total, we will discuss 8 questions. So this is the first passage. Generally, with the passage, what I generally advise people is quickly scan the questions. But here I cannot, I cannot go beyond the first question, because the moment I shift to the next slide, the answers will start showing. But for the sake of an example, let's say of the following statements, which of the following can be inferred from the first paragraph except? So this is going to be a slightly tricky, question. Anyway, but all of these, the questions, in fact, everything would be hardly of any use if you do not read the passage. So this is the first slide. You must have realized it was like 5 slides, but this is not very long. The first slide will probably 120 words at max, right? So this would take you 45 seconds. After 45 seconds, I will quickly change the slide. I will make you read it. Those of you who have already attempted the paper, CAT 2019, will find the passage familiar. Otherwise, if somebody is doing it right now, perfectly fine, read it. And once you are through with it, I will change to the next slide. I hope all of you are reading it. Right, passages, of course. When we come to the questions, I will discuss, certain ways and means by which you could have got the answer faster, but that is all secondary. But the primary thing is you need to read the passage first. Without reading the passage, there's nothing that we can do about it. Right. I hope everybody has read the first slide. This is the second slide. I will give you another 45 seconds, 1 minute, and then we will discuss. I hope all of you are reading it. Hope everybody is reading it. In fact, I am shifting to the next slide. I hope everybody is reading it. I know, reading the passage might sound tedious, but then in CAT you have no option. You have to read you'll have to read 5 such passages. So you have no other option. This year, they have reduced the time given per section, but that does not give us any idea. The number of questions could be reduced, but in any case, you will have to read, right? And I hope everybody has read this also. This is another slide, and if you notice, there were 3 slides in between, including this one, which was slightly long. But even the long slides, it looks long because of the font only. Otherwise, it's like 120 words, not more than that. Right. Changing or moving to the next slide. This is the last paragraph. It is very small. Yes, I believe everybody has read it. Another 10 seconds and then I will move on to the questions. Right. And in the question, you have, when we reach the questions, you will know what is the best way to answer. And there is one thing which I always keep on telling everybody, we will know this, right? So when you answer the questions, we know that this is going to be the first paragraph. So the first method, the first approach, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is first try to answer the options, answer the question by eliminating the clearly wrong options, right? And if required, after that, go back to the passage and refer and confirm. Referring and confirming should be done as the last resort if you cannot remember. Otherwise, if you remember and if you are distinct and if you're clear and confident about it, you should not refer. Right. So let's see. So what can be inferred? Tell me what is your answer. I hope, I believe some of you, all of you have already read it, and some of you might have already attempted the paper, right? So it's most like it's like a post-mortem where we discuss the paper. So what is the answer to this question? Now the question says all of them can be inferred except, meaning something which cannot be correct. Now, if this, there are two ways of approaching: one, to confirm everything, or to find out what is exactly wrong, right? Now the answer to this question, nobody is replying. I'll wait for 10 seconds and then quickly show you the reply and also give the logic behind it. Nobody is replying, right? Okay, the answer to this is B, right? What is the problem with B? Faced resistance from existing structural forms of Indian modernity. The problem with this B is when we say colonialism faced resistance from Indian structural forms, fine, but the structural forms that resisted in India, the forms that were there in India which resisted, were they modernity? So this is the big issue. So this is an option which we know is partially wrong. If it is partially wrong, it cannot be inferred. Whatever is partially wrong is not right, right? So one of you is saying the answer is A. It was at least an outcome of enlightenment. Now this is not, this is something which can be inferred. If you want, I can show you the part where we find this A, right? Enlightenment, if you notice, right? So if you read the first paragraph here, the British colonial state represented the great conquering discourse of enlightenment rationalism. So the colonialism, it represented enlightenment rationalism. So this means it was connected, at least it was inspired to some extent by enlightenment, right? And by the way, the answer option B is what you can find here. Sometimes it's initiative, meaning when you say this modernity, it's the modernity that is imposed by the Britishers in India. So its initiatives were resisted by pre-existing structural forms. But the pre-existing structural forms in India, they were not modernity, right? So what was it? We do not know. At times there was a more direct form of collective resistance. So people, different structures resisted to this particular colonialism. But was it modernity which resisted? Did modernity exist in India? This is something which we do not know. So the best answer to this question is B. Is this clear why the answer is B? Right. Like this, like the way we looked at, we confirm for A, you can confirm for C also. It was partly shaped by the project of European modernity. This is something which we know very clearly. The Europeans, Britishers, were trying to impose their concept of modernity to me, right? To us, right? Allowed the treatment of colonies as experimental sites. This is also directly mentioned in the first paragraph. Everybody is clear with this? I can confirm A, B, and D, A, B, C. I can confirm each one, or also I can find out this is clearly wrong because the resistance did not come from Indian modernity. Indian modernity probably did not exist at that time. So this is clearly wrong. Let's look at the next question. Right. Which of the following, if true, could be seen as supporting the arguments except? So that means we have to find out something which is not in agreement with the ideas given in the passage. The idea could be from anywhere. Let's see. Look at this question, and as usual, right, some of the points you may remember, some of them you may not remember. If required, refer, but very importantly, try to eliminate, try to find out the answer which is definitely wrong. What is the answer to this question? And if you answered the first question, there are some things which you will know are very clearly, which can be eliminated. For example, this experimentation was clearly mentioned. So this is something which supports the statement, so this cannot be the answer, right? And modernity was imposed upon India by the British and therefore led to underdevelopment. Underdevelopment is something which is mentioned in the last paragraph. Notice where the author says, it led to a degenerate form of capitalism, something which people theorists call underdevelopment, right? So the answer to this question is D. What is the problem with D? The change in British colonial policy was induced by resistance. First of all, let's understand this clearly. The passage was about how the Britishers tried to force their ideology, tried to impose their sense of modernity in India. It was met with resistance. But does it mean that because of this resistance, the British changed their colonial policy? No, this is something which was not at all a part of the passage. We know that they imposed and Indians resisted, but did the Britishers change their approach because of this resistance? It is not even discussed in the passage. So FTF Trio, I know that is not your name, but that is what I can read here. So you got the answer correct, option D. What about the next one? Right. This question is about the meaning of the statement. Which of the following best captures the sense of this statement? Well, of course, it would definitely help if you have it in the context, but reading this statement alone is enough to give you the answer. If you read it carefully, you will understand that the sentence tries to say that this sentence obviously means that, the colonial power, that was the Britishers, they were of course marginalized. They did not get into the fold of they were not accepted. They were in the margins, of course, because they had a foreign conquering power. But they were not happy with this, so they tried to impose their logic of modernity into Indian society. So what should be the answer to this? Right. Now, Rahul Kumar, I think the answer which you are giving, I hope it's to the previous question. Here, let's see. Right. Now, the best answer, let's find the answer. The best answer is C. Right. If you know the meaning is directly this, right? So, the colonial state felt marginalized, right? Therefore, it sought to to address this problem by bringing or introducing its modernity, and thereby solve the problem of marginalization. Right. Now, if you look at D, right, the cost of the colonials state was not, this cost is taken literally here. At the cost of its marginality simply means, they were marginal, right, and they could not settle for eminence, right, while being marginal. So it does not take the meaning, do not take the meaning of the word cost in a literal sense. So the best answer here is C, right? And the state's eminence was unsettled by its marginal. This is not clear, right? Now, the eminence cannot be unsettled by the marginal position, right? What the sentence means is that they could not simply accept eminence, right? And they did not want to simply be eminent. They also wanted to do away with marginality. So the best answer to this question is C. Everybody is clear with this, I hope, right? And B, eliminated B because this word costly, the word cost is not to be taken literally. Everybody is clear with this, I hope. So Rahul Kumar and FCF Trio, both of you got the answer correct, right? Now, this question, which of the following 5-word sequence best captures the flow of the arguments in the passage? Answer option A is here. There's a slight mistake. So A, this is B, this is B, this is C, and this is D. Now, either there are two options. Either you can eliminate, right? You can use something like a distinctive feature, or you can be very meticulous and look at each option one by one. When I attempted the paper, I got this answer very easily because I used the simple trick. What is a simple trick? It says it's a sequence. So look at the last thing. The last thing here in A is capitalism. Look at the last paragraph. I will show you the last paragraph. This will help you get the answer. In the end, what happened, right? What happened was the creation of a degenerate version of capitalism, which people call it the development of underdevelopment. That means what happened in the end was not really good. In fact, it promoted underdevelopment by creating a degenerate. Degenerate means a very bad form, decadent, or a bad form of, a worse form of capitalism. Right. So knowing this, you can find the answer very easily. What should be the answer? What should be the answer to that question? Right. So yes, FTF trio, you're saying the answer is B. You're correct. In the end, you speak about underdevelopment only in one option. Did not result in capitalism. It resulted in something bad. So underdevelopment is here only, right? Development is wrong. It did not end in capitalism. So if you notice, if you use tricks like this, you can get the answer very easily. So use tricks like this, eliminating what is clearly and what is distinctively clear. We should take, advantage of it. Is everybody clear with this? I hope all clear. All clear? Yes. Let's move on to the next question. Right now, which of the following observations is a valid conclusion to draw from the author's statement? Which means you are going to conclude something from this statement. Of course, it would help if you notice where the statement is, right? But if you place it in the context, things would be easier. But since you have read the passage, just reading the statement can definitely help you answer this question also. So here what is referring to is that the logical structure of endological change does not apply here. Here transformation agendas attack as an external force. If you place it in the context, you'll understand what is this transformation agenda. Transformation agenda is the transformation agenda that the Britishers had. They wanted to bring about changes, but the change was not endogenous. Endogenous means originating from within. So when the change was imposed on India, right, it was not a change that originated from within. It was something which came from outside. That is why it was resisted. So that is what should be the answer. So what should be the answer, Rahul Kumar? The answer is B. I hope you are answering. I can only hope you are answering the previous question. What is the answer? Endogenous means starting from within, as a part of itself, as a part of India. There is this word endogenous. What comes the closest to endogenous is what will help you here, right? So the change, the transformation process was not endogenous. It was imposed from outside. What is the best answer? If you look at option D, the transformation did not happen organically. The key word is organically. Organically means from within itself, endogenous, right? But it was forced by colonial agendas. So the best answer to this question is D. Nobody answered. I hope everybody is able to understand what we are trying to discuss, right? So the best answer is D. Is it clear, everybody? Yes, I hope. So these were 5 questions from a passage, right? We have 3 more questions to go. The next question is a summary. So this is the direction. So here you're supposed to find out what is the summary. Now, let me tell you something before you look at the summary. In summary questions, this is something which generally happens in CAT, right? You are not going to find, the perfect answer. You will have to find out what is the best one. So there's no complete summary. The complete summary is none of the above. If you read the paragraph and see, the complete summary is not to be found anywhere. Just eliminate the wrong ones and you will be left with the answer. So in many cases, elimination of the wrong answer options, finding out what is distinctive definitely helps you get the answer. Right. So previous question, everybody understood. The answer was, D. Okay, what would be the best answer? Eliminate. If you notice, what is the passage roughly about? It's about how language is unique to primates, right? and he says, there's no, and then the language is not something which is monolithic. It is it's a complex bundle of traits, and it has evolved, and language draws from aspects of recognition, right, such as memory. So there are many aspects of cognition that language draws from, and one aspect is memory, right? So everybody is clear, I hope. What about this question? Eliminate the options. Okay. Now, let me tell you a way to eliminate the answer options. I hope all of you will be able to follow me. Look at A. Language, a derived trait found only in humans. Till here, I agree. Has evolved over time. Agreed, right? Has evolved over time and involves memory. The last part is what I object to. Does it involve memory, or does it draw from various aspects of cognition, including memory? Right. It draws from many aspects of cognition, and memory is just one example. So this is the part which I object to in option A. What about B? Language is a distinctively human feature as there is no evidence of the existence. This completely focuses only on the first part, right? And as means this is the reason, right? Now, if you notice, we also have no evidence. We also have no evidence. It does not mean it is a reason. He is giving you two different ideas. By the way, it focuses only on the first part. So B is also a little bit questionable. Look at C. Language evolved with linguistic features building on features of cognition such as memory. Now, if you notice, C focuses more on the last part but is silent about the first, right? Anyway, let's see, right? Now, if I look at D, language is not a single uniform entity but the end result of a long and complex process of linguistic, evolution. Okay. Okay, now if you notice, the language faculty as a whole comprises more than just the uniquely linguistic features. It means there is more to language than just linguistic features. Because of this, I can eliminate D. Look at the last part. Language faculty as a whole comprises more than just the uniquely linguistic features. It draws from different aspects of cognition. So even in D, the last part is what I object to. Is it the end result of a long process of linguistic evolution? Evolution, but not linguistic. It is evolution, and linguistic is a part of it. It's not the only thing. So what is the only thing left? The only thing left is C. And C, though it is not complete, it at least covers the larger part of the passage, and it is also not wrong. It builds on features of cognition such as memory. This is factually correct at least. So the best answer to this question is C. Now, that's what I was telling you. You cannot have the perfect answer here. No answer is perfect. But notice how I eliminated the wrong ones, how I found what is wrong in each option and arrived at the answer. Is everybody clear with this? Is everybody clear with the approach which I took up now? Yes, right. Try to apply the same thing in the next summary question, which we will take up right after this slide. And okay, option D, Chandrika, I just explained already. If you want, I'll repeat. Dekho, it's the end result of a long and complex process of linguistic evolution. The problem is with this, right? Look at the last part. The language faculty as a whole comprises more than just the linguistic features. It is not just linguistic features. It included many aspects of cognition, memory. So the problem with D is this, right? The evolution is in many spheres, not just linguistics. Clear hai, Chandrika? I hope you understood how I eliminated A and B, right? So D also we eliminated. Okay, so the best answer is C. Clear. Now try doing the same thing in this question. This is also summary. This is also summary, and as I was telling you, the perfect summary, if it is given, it will make the answer very easy. It will make the question very easy. So nobody will do that. So eliminate, find out what is clearly wrong, leave out those wrong options, and that will leave you with the correct answer. So elimination, finding out what is distinctly and clearly apparent, is something which helps you to a great extent in answering questions, especially in the English section. Right, try this. Right. Now look at the overall message that is conducted by, that is given by the passage. Bhaskar, I am not an MBA. I am not from the IMs. I didn't tell you about myself. I am. My name is Anujam. I have a master's degree in English literature, and I started teaching people, for people like you, from 2003 onwards, right after I finished uh, my master's, right? So it's been around 17, 18 years, and I have taken classes for CAT, the banking sector exams, MBA entrance exams, GRE, GMAT in different institutes. I'll not take names. Gradeup is, I have been with Gradeup for the last 1.5 years, right? So earlier to that, before that, I have taken classes in most of the well-known MBA entrance exam coaching centers. Okay, what should be the answer to this? Right, eliminate the answers which are clearly there, right? If you eliminate the answers, right? For example, option A, post this is focusing too much on the study. The study is only given to prove the point. It is not the summary. Okay, so A can be eliminated, right? Okay. Uh, Now, option C, Chandrika says movements that work towards social change find it difficult to mobilize a critical mass of supporters. This is the problem. But what is the solution? This is the problem. What is the solution? The solution, or the solution to this problem, is not mentioned in C. In fact, the problem is only in the beginning, right? It says it is something which is often difficult, right? So what is the way out? Organizations with hybrid entities, they span the boundaries, they are vital. So which means the organization itself should have multiple identity, should have hybrid entities, right? So in addition, organizations with hybrid entities, so the idea is that if you have a social movement organization, it's difficult to get supporters. So what is the way out? Generally, because of this, organizations who have a hybrid kind of an identity, they tend to attract more people, and these people are also from hybrid backgrounds, and they will have multiple points of view. So if you notice, the best answer to this question is D. The best answer is D, right? Why did I eliminate C? Because C covers only a small part. That was the problem. The major thing is, because of this, what is the reality? That is the major thing. Okay. And if I look at B, hybrid organizations attract individuals that are deeply involved in anti-war movements. Hybrid organizations, right, they do not simply attract anti-war movements, people involved in anti-war. People involved in anti-war is only an example to prove the fact that hybrid, to if you have to have a social movement organization, the organization should be hybrid. Only then will it attract more people who have hybrid, and who have let's say multifaceted ideologies, and not just one rigid structure, right? So everybody is clear with this. The best answer is D. All clear? All clear with this? Right. So two questions which are based on summary. The last question for today is a typical parajumble. So if you notice, normally what you're given is, you're given answer options, but we know that in CAT you are not given the options. You are supposed to type in the options. Let's see. So these are the four statements. What will be the first one? Now if you notice, look for clues. Something which I always tell everyone: look for clues. But first, initially, you'll have to read the statements, right? Read the statements very carefully. Look for pronouns, look for linking words, right? Look for general statements. General statements will obviously come before must be general statements should come before specific statements. Chandrika, summary must be either an answer or a fact out of the paragraph. No, summary should cover the major part of the passage. Right? It may answer to what, not necessarily an answer or a. देखो, एक चीज देखो, something which is not factually true cannot be the summary. So eliminate that. But whatever is factually true is not always the summary. For something to be the summary, you need to cover a major part of the passage also. But I eliminated what was factually wrong, because what is factually wrong can never be the summary. Clear hai Chandrika? I hope you got the point. What should be the answer? Right. The first, when I read this, I'll give you 1 minute. Let's not be in a hurry. When I read, the first thing which I noticed was are two of the deleterious results of this representation. This is a demonstrative. So whereas this representation mentioned, you will find it mentioned in 4. So the first clue which I find is 4 and 1. Now you are left with sentences 2 and 3. Worry about where will I place 2 and 3. I know 4 and 1 is here. So can I place 2 and 3? Where will I place? Read the statements. If you notice, right, statement 4 and 1. 4 and 1 is quite generalized. It is introductory, right? 3 is more, 3 and 2 are more specific, so it cannot come before 4 and 1. So 4 and 1 is this. What does 1 speak about? Okay, what is 4 and 1? 4 and 1 is about how there is this gender, there is a gender issue given to the kind of time that people use for work. So clock time has been represented as a masculine artifact representative of a time is money perspective. So the time that is spent on the clock is, this representation and concepts. And a woman, the time that a woman spends is supposed to be different from clock time, right? And clock time is supposed to be, it's in short, the kind of work that a woman does is probably cannot be accounted and cannot be therefore given the value, right? So 4-1 is this. So this is like generalized statements, right? After this, right, this dichotomy is something which will come later on. Look at 3. When the everyday practices of working soul are carefully examined, it is found that caring time is more focused on the clock than generally theorized. This is something which is a departure from what was given in 4 and 1, right? And therefore 3 will come here. What is left is 2. While the dichotomy, this article, if you notice, this points out, when you say this article, right, this statement can be either in the beginning or towards the end, because it is something which tells you the source of this entire thing. If I place it in the beginning, it will not make any sense, right? So place it in the end. So the answer to this question should be 4132. Everybody got this point? The answer to this is 4132, right? So in the end, I will summarize, I will end the class by telling a little bit about myself. As I already told you, I am a full-time employee of Gradeup. I work with Gradeup. I have been here for the last 1.5 years, and I have a master's degree in English, and I take classes in English and critical reasoning across different exams like primary. Out of my 18 years of experience, probably around 16 years have been spent in teaching, in taking classes for CAT and other MB entrance exams. In GRE, GMAT I have taken for 1 or 2 years in between, right? Banking sector exams I have taken. Law also is a major part, forms a major part of my law entrance exams also forms a major part of my career. So in short, I have taken classes for people like you for around 17, 18 years. That's about me, right? Now, some information about certain courses. There is this CAT 2021. There's a comprehensive course. The batch started on batch 2 started on 12th October, right? The guidance will be provided by, CAT toppers, right? People who have scored high, right? And there will be a day-wise study plan covering the entire syllabus. There will be quizzes also. There will be a comprehensive group discussion and WAT. WAT is writing assessment test, right? The essay that happens in the second round. So this last part is about nothing else but the second part of the second stage of the preparation. And you also have something called the Gradeup. If you unlock it, what will happen is this Gradeup green card is nothing else but it is, by purchasing this, by subscribing to it, you will have access to different online mocks for different exams, right? So you can see the cost also. This is something which is self-explanatory, right? And the faculty who will be taking classes, you can see, you know, the DIL, LR expert, quant expert, quant expert, again quant expert, verbal ability expert. You can see the scores also, right? Quant expert, verbal ability expert, quant expert, verbal ability expert, no, quant expert again VA. So you will see there are multiple faculty who have scored, who have done really well. Last but not the least, you have two more. This is the team at Gradeup who will be taking your classes, right? So there are other courses which are coming up. You can probably can make a mental note of it if it is going to be of any help. For CLAT 2021, batch 2 started on 12th of October, right? CAT 2020, we have a boot camp. Boot camp is almost like a preparation. This is like a fast track preparation, very intense and rigorous, right? So you will prepare with 100 percentilers, people who have scored 100 percentile in their own sections, right? And there is this previous year question course, CAT 2020. There's a special course for other exams. There's another course for GK and current affairs, right? So with that, we come to the end of the session. That's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day. See you again in the next session.